Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video, and mere hours after I put up a video effectively just complaining about the lack of news, not knowing anything about what's happening with comics going forward, there's a slight glimmer of hope because Comic-Con have just announced an Avatar panel for the whole Comic-Con at home thing. So this is basically going to be a live streamed online panel. Great. So here's what it is. Friday, July 24th, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Basically, this is the San Diego Comic-Con panel. It's just virtually because the convention's not actually on. The description, you've probably heard this one before for the most part. Dark Horse Comics, Abrams Books, and Nickelodeon are thrilled to treat fans to a panel worthy of the Avatar. Join Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra creators and writers Michael Dante DiMartino, Faith Erin Hicks, FCE, and Jean Luen Yang for a further exploration of the beloved world as it has grown and changed since the animated series has ended. So, is this going to give us news? Is this where they're going to announce the new books? Based on previous years, the answer would be no, and very comfortably no, because how many years has it been since there's been an announcement of a new anything for Avatar at Comic-Con? By my estimation, the last time they announced something at a Comic-Con was it was either the Korra coloring book, or I think they showed the cover for one of the library editions, maybe. Was it North and South Library Edition at one of these cons? But that's a bunch of years ago at this point. In the last, 2 to 3 years, whether it's Comic-Con, SDCC, or NYCC, there's been no news that comes out of the panel itself. New York Comic-Con, not last year, but the 2 years before that, I think, had news come out just before. But obviously last year changed that up since we didn't get news immediately afterwards. But the thing I will say here is that if there's a team you want on the panel to actually have some announcements, that's who you want. Mike immediately is okay. Because yes, he assists on Shadow of Kyoshi. This panel is going to take place 3 days after Shadow of Kyoshi releases. So he's involved in Shadow of Kyoshi with FCE. He's the writer of Ruins of the Empire, which just ended. If there is going to be another Korra comic, he's more than likely the most obvious writer, unless, there's something different going on here. Faith Erin Hicks is our current Avatar writer, though obviously Katara and the Pirate Silver has sort of confused that, and the previous Avatar writer, Jean Yang. So, to me, if they're finally doing something here of we've got big announcements, I think the best thing that they could do with these people that they have there is for Mike to be I am writing the next Korra comic, here's the artist. Great. For Faith Erin Hicks to explain what the whole thing with Katara and the Pirate Silver is, and I suppose if there is the potential for her to announce what's next. Are they doing another solo book or a trilogy? With FCE, he's primarily there for The Rise and The Shadow of Kyoshi. I'd be shocked if there was an announcement about the next novel, but if they went all out, that would be the thing to do, to announce a third novel. That to me seems the most questionable of all. I do think this is going to be more of a marketing thing, basically just to get across to everyone watching The Shadow of Kyoshi is out. And because in general this panel is just going to be a YouTube live stream, everyone can watch it. I assume it's on YouTube, so it's not going to be region blocked, I'm guessing. So there's going to be more eyes on this than your typical panel from the last few years, which is only really covered by the hardcore fans. This, once it gets out there, is going to have thousands and thousands of people watching. So it makes actually doing announcements at this worthwhile. Whereas if you've seen the videos of some of the previous Avatar and Korra panels over the last couple of years, you're kind of I sort of see why there's no point in announcing anything here, because yes, the room is filled with Avatar fans, but the way they do those panels, it doesn't seem like the place to do news or anything like that. And because they don't officially release them, it's just fan recordings. They don't get enough views to just be popular in that sense. So it's usually better for them to do announcements by just, we'll give it to Comic Book Resources or something like that to announce something new. There'll be more eyes on that than people just keeping track of what's being said at Comic-Con panels. Whereas this one's online. This is basically a news live stream type thing, if they choose to do it that way. Now, absolutely, this could just be a live stream version of what we typically get. But if there's any year to do it and deliver it based on the timing of how things are, the lack of information, the fact that we are so confused, this is the place to do it. There's no better place in my mind to make a lot of your announcements other than here. Because if they don't, it's kind of like, what are we talking about here? Like, of course we know the creators, they can fill a panel with stuff. They'll just talk about the most recently released stuff. Of like, I suppose this might be an option to have preview pages for Qatar and the Pirate Silver. That's what Faith Aaron Hicks can talk about. The two Kyoshi books is what FCE can talk about. Gene Yang, I suppose, with him, I would hope that maybe there's an Avatar announcement and it's maybe that he's writing Avatar again. That would be like a big announcement for me. It's like, yes, because he was so good at writing the first 5 Avatar comics. So is he just there because he's sort of the writer of the first couple of comics and it's primarily a comic panel? I hope there's a reason for him to be there other than just because he's another creator that they could get. But Mike definitely adds a lot to this for sure, in that, to me, him just being there is like, okay, we can get news. He'll bring news, hopefully. But without him, you'd be like, probably isn't what we want. It's difficult to really say in terms of a heavy prediction if they will go down the news road or not, because obviously the description doesn't tease it, but most of the panels have never teased news particularly. But what this is either going to do is it's either going to be the news thing, or it will be more of the fandom realizing how much of a waste of time panels like this typically are when they're not news focused. So yeah, as you can tell, I'm not the most confident in this in terms of news. I'm just like, until I get the news, we're not going to get it. That's just the way I am right now on this. It's hard to be overly optimistic given the way things have gone the last couple of months. But this could be incredible. Like, if they do big announcements here, this is a big thing, huge thing. Like, imagine the excitement level that there was for the 2 Turf Wars live streams, but this time like actual news, like them announcing a full-on new Korra comic and like showing off like the cover of this, making a big announcement for like another book or something like that. Those would be big things, and that's kind of what we want, is just the fandom to get very, very excited about that sort of stuff. And especially given that they've probably had time to plan this in the previous 2 months that Avatar has been like insanely popular again because of being on Netflix. This is not the time to do your, Avatar Comic-Con panel by the numbers that you've done every year for the last like 4 or 5 years. This is your opportunity to do something big, because you're going to have a lot of eyes on this. And this is, it feels make or break. That if we get to July 24th and we don't already have news, there's going to be so much pressure on this panel. And if we come out of this and there's no news, it's kind of like, what is going on? That's my main takeaway from this, is that the fandom is going to be in such a state of just like, give us the news by the time we're at July 24th, if we don't have news already. I really question if it's going to be able to deliver. That's where I'm at right now. But it's exciting at least, you know, I did not expect there to be this type of panel for the online Comic-Con, and the lineup makes me think possibly it's possible, but it's hard to be overly optimistic. So in the comments, let me know, what do you think is going to happen here? It's the right people, the right setting. Actually, this time it's actually better that it's an online stream and not an in-person panel. That actually, I think, works in our favor because there'll be more eyes on it. But what are your thoughts on this? That's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.